feel the pull of something dark and deep. The urge to be somebody that's not me. He's on my side, the devil in disguise. You in your darkest dreams. Don't cry for help, no one can hear your screams. He's on my side, the devil in disguise. What
Morning and/or afternoon or night, ladies, gentlemen, everyone who watches competitive Left 4 Dead 2, and welcome to round 5 of the loser bracket of the RBT6 playoffs right here on Kreitch's stream. I am so excited to be casting this match this early morning here. For me, from Madrid, I am Rails Barlow, one of your tournament administrators and one of your shoutcasters for today's match versus teams Impact and Coreagaming, and I'm joined by one of the people who's been one of the most faithful casters this tournament, and that is Mr. MK himself. MK, are you ready for what is going to be what I hope to be a hell of a match?
Absolutely, I am, and it looks like the map banning has already started here, Rails, and it looks like Passive Ice, the Gauntlet map, is already taken off, so we're not going to see that at all, and going right into it, what do you think is going to be next?
Yeah, well, something we were talking about in the caster war room for RBT6 is the fact that we have expanded map banning just a little bit to be more involved in these games, and as you just mentioned, the first pick has actually already been made to eliminate Passive Ice, which personally I agree with, because Passive Ice is one of those maps that merges two campaigns together that's shorter, right? And I don't mind it in pugs, and I really don't mind it like in Swiss stage matches, but for matches that are really consequential, I think both these teams are going to be picking something a bit more, I don't know, a bit more standardized when it comes to competitive play like that, because Passive Ice only really started getting played, I think, back in like 2015, 2016, but when you have teams of this caliber in a tournament like this who have had players who've played this game competitively for years, I think they're going to probably lean towards something more like the, I don't know, Dark Carney, Hard Rain, Parish. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of those three maps they end up picking just because of how stable they are.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Rails, but I prefer not to see a Dark Carnival or a Parish map personally, but just like you said, it very may well
there goes down
one of those. Oh, and there it is. Custom is down, so only two custom, or actually three customs still remain here, Rails.
Exactly, and so I do believe this means that Team Impact is picking in blue and Team Coreagaming is picking in orange, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought, because Coreagaming getting rid of Downpour there to me makes sense, because like I said, I think just because this is going to be a best of one game as well, I personally, because I am a fan of Chaos, would absolutely love to see Death Toll be the map for this, but I don't think it's actually going to be, because that map tends to induce something even more random. But in terms of how these teams have played MK, I mean, when you're approaching it, you want a map that plays to your strengths, but the other strategy in map banning, of course, is to get rid of a map that another team might be good at, and that might be the reason for getting rid of Dark Carnival right there by Team Impact.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I am happy to see go. Just personally, Dark Carnival is basically, in my opinion, one of the most overplayed maps, but I do agree with banning this one. I'm pretty sure that if I had to guess now, Rails, between the last two maps that would be left, I probably would guess Skyscraper or Death Toll, as Suicide Blitz is now taken off.
Yeah, and seeing the custom maps fall like this is unfortunate for those who like, well, it's not all the custom maps falling like that, but I'd say at this stage too, in terms of Carnival Remix and Skyscraper remaining, those are also two of the more battle-tested custom maps at this point. Dark Carney Remix not as much as Skyscraper, but since Skyscraper's been around since like 2014, 2015, there's been grand finals on that map. I wouldn't be surprised to see that one be at least one of the last customs standing, but between Carney Remix, Death Toll, Redux, Hard Rain, and Parish here, I think both teams are leaning towards Parish. Maybe that's a bad prediction by me, but I think the reason that they're looking for that is because Parish is pretty straightforward. I think if both teams on SI are going to be super comfortable with that as well, and unless there's some kind of out of left field pick for that, that seems the direction that people are going. But like I said, in a situation like this where you have two seeds that are relatively close to each other in the standings as well, because Coreagaming is a 9 seed and Impact's a 12 seed, making it this far in the tournament, which I love, by the way. You can see a number of strategies used from either side to try to give themselves an advantage here. If it's me personally, like I said, Chaos is telling me to pick Death Toll, but from a strategy perspective, I actually wouldn't mind to see Hard Rain here, just because, like I said, it's leaning more towards the standard on whatever config that we're playing, but I don't know. If you're looking for an upset, then you're leaning more towards your Skyscraper Death Toll routes here.
Yeah, I think Hard Rain would be actually a pretty good selection. We saw it played before, and it's like you said, it's one of the normal maps in the game. It's not a custom one, and the tank spawns are pretty balanced, and you actually, as survivors, depending on if attacks go in or not, you can see a lot of rotations to either force the tank to LOS himself or move
Yeah.
into a position more favorable, or just to slightly go forward and clear commons for whatever melee next after that attack is
Mhm.
cleared and the next spawns are up. So with high tier play like this, Rails, a lot of teams like to push and then clear
Yeah.
as much as they can in the front, and then maybe go back just so the forward is clear depending on what happens on the tank commit.
Yeah, well, I'm also thinking too in terms of ping, right? If we're looking for a one-game LA, since it's going to be one team. Yeah, and there goes Die Scraper Redux. Actually, as I was thinking that, I was like, okay, so a high ping Die Scraper one game is probably not going to be fun, and that veto that comes out right there by Impact makes a whole lot of sense based on what we were thinking, because a lot of things can happen in general, and I'm actually happy to see Death Toll make it to the Final Four here, but I expect Coreagaming to veto that maybe soon, because everything considered with ping here, we're probably leaning more towards hard rain because it's a bit more of an open map, I'd say, on Survivor side. And Parish, SI hits on Parish can be very, very, especially I'm thinking of the one on Parish map 2 after the event, right? When you have to actually take the event now as you're moving through it, since you can't go back to the park and just hold it out. It's like, that on ping can get really, really messy depending on how good the teams are. And if you're in the final four of a tournament, or looking to be in the final four of a tournament like RBT6 that way, especially in the losers bracket like this, where the next loss for either team here means elimination. I don't know if you want to put all your chips in one pot when it comes to, okay, here's the one map where we might get destroyed the most on SI. So that's why I can see Hard Rain being better than Parish, because it is just a bit more open that way. But I would love to see Dark Harney Remix actually make it. I'm not gonna lie.
And it's gone. Just as you say that, as soon as you call it out, it's gone.
Sorry, if I cursed it.
Just like you said, since it's a neutral game, so the maps that are left are a little bit more open, so people have time to I guess.
Death Toll. I thought they were gonna take out Death Toll before Dark Harney Remix. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know. Carney Remix is also relatively open, but it's that anti-custom map thing going out there, I'd say, by Coreagaming. And now the choice is, okay, does Impact want to take this to a Death Toll versus Hard Rain question? Because I would not be surprised. If it's on Death Toll, I'm going to be so happy, first of all. But, second of all, yeah, I mean, from a strategy standpoint, in terms of how comfortable these teams are playing on those, I know for sure that for Coreagaming and in the Asian scene that way, I think that's why Impact got rid of Dark Carnival, because Dark Carney is absolutely standard across the world, but it's super standard there. Between Hard Rain and Parish, both of those are still relatively, quote-unquote normal for everybody to play. I think Death Toll gives us the most interesting game at this point, which means they're probably going to break my heart and veto next. But no, actually, they're getting rid of regular Hard Rain, so it's down between Death Toll and Parish. Okay, that actually surprises me. That surprises me, I'm not gonna lie.
Same, I thought it's gonna be actually Hard Rain. Oh my god, we're going to
Oh my goodness gracious, we are going to Death Toll. Well, I'm so glad I got up for this game, because it's the first plan. This is the deepest I think I've ever seen Death Toll actually played in an RBT, because it was the RBT 1 quarterfinals, but I've never seen it this late. I am so ready now. This is gonna be so amazing, because it's Death Toll, man. Literally anything can happen on that map, okay?
Yes, you are correct, and one of those things that you're talking about is...
Crunch, are you good?
I'm good. I hope they will play map 5, at least.
I also hope that, and actually I'm going to ask them that, because it's a 1-4 that, I think it's technically 1-4 to start by the rules that way, but I would absolutely love to see map 5 played. So, okay, it's going to be Impact and Coreagaming, and you know what? It was Coreagaming, because they're the higher seed, that made that last pick actually to take this to Death Toll and give everybody an interesting game. So it's not Parish, it's not Hard Rain, it's not Dark Carnival. We are going to Left 4 Dead 1 MK, and I could not be more excited.
Wow, I cannot believe we're playing the Left 4 Dead 1 map in the tournament. Looking forward to it. But one thing to add, I don't know if you noticed, Rails, is last time we had a map 5 played, it was on Dark Carnival Remix. And if I remember correctly, somebody had a tank for about 9 minutes. If I remember correctly, against Aqualix. I don't remember what the other team was for the life of me. Free Thinkers, that's who it was. About a 9-minute tank on the finale rails. That's how long, and just drained all their bonus. But nonetheless, that is if the finale is played, so we'll have to see if it happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the thing about Death Toll finale is I'm not 100% sure what it looks like on this version of Zone Mod, because even just in Cedar and Pugs, usually it just goes through map 1 to 4. But I'm fairly sure it's still got that 2 tanks scenario where you can have, well, maybe 2 or 3, depending on how early that first one spawns. And I mean that first tank on Death Toll finale, especially depending on where the second one spawns, right? If it's like 500 or 600 distance, that could still make or break an entire game right there. So
Yeah, and also if the finale is played, there is an addition to the docks. There's now a little awning on the dock where the survivors usually hold out, and also not to forget the boulder that is also hittable on the finale, depending on where the survivors hold out and when that second tank will spawn. And it's actually only 2 tanks rails. There is not a third.
that's kind of what I was
it'll be
thinking
one
there.
before event and then one during the event, I believe, if I remember correctly.
I remember the days of 3 tanks on Death Toll. Those were fun days on the finale that way. That's why it used to be one at the safe room, then one at like 300 something, and one at like 600 something when it was 800 distance. But nowadays it's like, I don't know, one tank at the house, right, can still absolutely milk a team for a fair amount of time if the tank knows how to play rock in that way. And I'm really interested to see now too, you know, what is the impact of the ping going to be on this game on Death Toll that way? Because I know map 2 is really unforgiving with some of those inside hits. And my thing is, if you had to ask me my favorite campaign in all of Left 4 Dead 2, it probably is Death Toll. But I absolutely hate map 2. I'm not gonna lie, on Survivor side, just because in general it has so many opportunities for the SI to get a bunch of really good hits together in a closed space, and on ping that makes it even like much harder, especially with like Uzis in some of those tunnel areas. So it's going to be whatever team plays more precise Survivor, but I expect this to be a very special infected sided game at this point.
Yes, it is. And also one thing to note, Rails, about at least map 1 of Death Toll is where the tank going to spawn. Is it going to be early or is it going to be late? Are we going to see a tank play really, really long and a lot of rocks if a team doesn't quite know how to LOS properly? You can see a tank just last there for days. But with this high play, I'm really curious to see what happens if it's early. But if it's a late tank, we're pretty much going to be a regular get what spawns you want and commit there and see what damage you can do.
I'm in server, by the way.
Yep, joining.
Boy.
I mean, the thing is, this deep into the losers bracket, as we just mentioned, these are the 5 best teams still in the tournament. You've got Where the Fuck is Spongy and Cat Jam in the winners bracket that way. These 2 teams, Impact and Coreagaming, facing off, and then there's one other squad which I have not mentioned yet. I think it's Team YBG.
No, Team YGB, I believe, lost yesterday.
No, of course, Team Aquilix, right? They're going to be the ones who are in the... So that was actually the final 6. It was Aquilix, YBG, Impact, Coreagaming, Cat Jam, and Where the Fuck is Spongy. I was thinking YBG because they were actually the higher seed, but Aquilix won that game off of a veto as well this week. So that means the winner of this game will play Team Aquilix next week in the de facto semifinals of the tourney that way. But, yeah, seeing those teams still in this tourney, right? Honestly, oh, I'm double bound. That's also hilarious. Good luck.
As we wait for Rails to fix his issue, we're having some of the teams join right now, waiting for 2 more, and we will ready up shortly. But it does look like we're actually going to get an early tank. It's 45%, which means I believe they have to take the bridge twice then. They're going to have to take it before the tank spawns. And they have a 2-2. I wonder if they're going to sack something here, Rails, before they push up on the... for the tank, actually.
I was actually going to say, too, that with those teams left, right, this winner of this game plays Aquilix, and then we'll see what happens with Cat Jam and Where the Fuck is Spongy. But the thing about a map like Death Toll, and I hope this isn't the last time we see it, but the reason you don't see it used too often this deep in tournaments, right, is just because of all the maps. I'm fairly sure Death Toll, of like the vanilla like campaigns, has the most hittables. I'm trying to think of another campaign that has more, but this is one of those tanks where you're going to see those pretty much be everything, because the classic standard on this for SI at least is for the tank to get both his cars, of course, from the one side of the bridge to the other. You can play rock, and looking at the pings, this is all like good between what, like Kane's got like 128 for Coreagaming, and then for Impact I think the highest that I'm seeing is like 153 for Healy. But that makes, you know, rock still a possibility. But MK, the amount of games I've seen come down to one team landing like literally one hittable or something, maybe getting a kill on some map. This is exactly a scenario like that with a tank this early, where the survivors have to take the bridge, they have to deal with whatever happens on the ladders, and they have to come back and hopefully survive the tank and then take it again. So this actually might be the actually might be the most challenging tank on Survivor side for this. And I remember back in the day, you had multiple like high-level players from either NA or EU saying that there's only like less bad ways to take this tank sometimes, depending on what happens with it. And it all comes down to how well the tank positions its hittables and how confident the tank is in the hittables that way too to make a play. Like that makes or breaks the entire chapter, in my opinion.
Yeah, yes, you are correct. But one thing that I was surprised to see in the playoffs this year, actually, Rails, is some of the high-tier teams when they played on Dark Carnival. Of course, it's Dark Carnival, not Death Toll. But on map 1 and 2, we saw them play actually Rock Tank for quite some time. There was like 6 or 7 hits that went in before the tank even decided to commit, which is usually odd with high-tier play like this. Usually, you know, to get that boom down, everybody LOSs. So I'm really curious, like you said, to see what's going to happen here on map 1, having this early tank, getting his hittables in play. Is he going to hover up on the right? Are they going to send so many spawns in at a time to try to get damage to prolong it as long as possible? I'm really curious to see on what they're going to do, as it was seen this week and last week, actually. And I don't know about this week, but last week definitely was in 2 matches, Rails, where we saw at least 5-minute tanks on map 1 at Dark Carnival.
I mean, okay. So ideally on Survivor side, right, no matter what the ping is, unless you're going for some like really aggressive chip, Rock Tank shouldn't be happening. And I'm saying this now, and of course, as you mentioned, we'll probably be here for a good like 16 minutes based on the first 2 tanks that we see. 8 minutes on either side for a Rock Tank, of course. But you would hope that you're able to take like 1 or 2 hits on Survivor side and then just LOS the tank well enough to where that's not an issue. And for the sake of both Team Survivor side, I hope we see that here, but also for the sake of chaos, I hope that we're here forever with a Rock Tank. So I have conflicting interests when it comes to what I actually want to see happen, but in an ideal world, the survivors would be able to deal with that like relatively fast. And in a game like this, where, you know, just looking at the rosters even before we go live, for these teams to have made it to this point in RBT6, either with these lineups or with slight alterations going into the playoffs that way, you don't expect to see players who have played in the community for this long at such high levels. I'm looking at Slay's career on South Stars, right, and Kane obviously on Envy. Like, Razor, people in this game know that there are certain things that should be happening on Survivor side and things that should not be happening on Survivor side. And in a playoff game like this, having like an 8-minute Rock Tank is definitely not a good look for either side. So we'll see exactly how they decide to deal with it. But I think of all the maps as well, Death Toll is probably one of the more SI-sided campaigns, and on ping like this, anything is possible. That being said, we are going live, MK, as we get baited just a little bit by Simpact Chad on the Survivor side. Hey, I absolutely respect it, but we are going to be going live right here, right now, with round 5 of the losers bracket of RBT6. It's going to be Team Impact on Survivor side first from South America, and Team Coreagaming from Asia on the Special Infected side. Let's see exactly how this goes. It is Death Toll, which means I am smiling from ear to ear as the survivors push their way into this first attack. For Team Impact, it's going to be Press W, Slay, Healy, and Chad. And who do we have for Coreagaming, MK?
We have Kane, Razor, Scale, and 4Z.
Exactly. Let's see what this first fit is going to do. It's going to be a Hunter, Boomer, Spitter, and a Smoker for Team Coreagaming on that Special Infected side. So it's a 2-2, and Team Impact to spawn this tank are going to be rotating to the left-hand side, confidently going up that choke. It's going to be Bill and Lewis with those shotties, looking to clear out what they can. Both pinners are above them right now. The Smoker looking for some kind of pull through those trees. Boomer's going to go from the top of that lit on fire gasoline track and get absolutely nothing. That means that's going to be a double cap, though, going out with no boom. Spit going down on the Pound Survivor. It's not going to do a whole lot of damage onto Healy, so both pinners land MK. The tank's going to be up, no boomer. Spitter is not quite dead until now, and the first tank of this game is going to be up into the hands of Kane himself, one of Envy's mainstays when they got second place in RBT5 plus. With the amount of time that team put into this game, Kane obviously is an amazing pickup for any team, and Coreagaming has used his talents in RBT6 to the zenith at this point. And MK, he's going for 3 cars on this commit, it would seem.
Yeah, he has a time. He's definitely, I think he's doing a smart play right now. Well,
oh, that one?
Oh, nope, it's still all right. It's all right. That one might be out of play, though, going down on the bottom. That one's going to be rough to get up as well here, Rails, but he's still first pass. 100%. That one's good, and let's see what he can dig out of here.
I think he's going to leave 1 in the ravine. Actually, he's going to leave 2 in the ravine. I think he actually could have gotten one of those sedans up the hill. It would have taken a couple hits, but instead he's going to elect to throw a rock. As this charger is going to go in, Jockey's looking for a pin onto Bill as well, but the boomer is going to die last. Nothing's going to land, and actually Kane is already on 90% second pass, and now he's going to decide to go for the car. Oh, this is going to be really, really close. I'm not sure if he actually... Yeah, he doesn't have the time to get that second sedan at this point. Had he done that first, he would have managed to get it, but instead he's going to be actually almost hurting for a rage here. He's on 25% second, as I mentioned, and he only is going to have one car to play with. He's going to have to be extremely careful, and it's going to come down to this 3-cap. If there's going to be any kind of wipe, I would say Smoker Hunter Jockey, as Kane is going to work his way in. Car goes spinning over Lewis, and that's actually going to be in the back as he rotates to the side. Smoker Pole does go out. Lewis gets launched up into the air, taking fall damage, and then he gets pounced. This is Death Toll at its absolute best, as this car is still being knocked around. He's got about 3k HP. The Hunter decided to pounce on Lewis as well. Kane throwing a rock, missing it onto Francis there, turning back around. Jockey is going to land onto Francis now. It's absolute chaos in the safe room. Smoker lands onto Zoe as well. Car is going in, but not going to land. That's going to be a land, though, on to Bill. This is absolute chaos, like I mentioned. There's a punch going out onto Francis. This is a huge amount of damage going out by Kane's tank. Missing a punch onto Chad there, though. Smoker Pole is going to go out. Zoe is trying to kite this charger, but she's going to get charged, and that is the wipe in the safe room. MK, this is everything we could have asked for with that back punch going out. Kane getting an amazing wipe to start. Only one car needed.
Oh my goodness. I hear voice chat going bananas right now. It's hard to hear what you were saying, but the tank does get the wipe. The separation at the end there, Rails. Unfortunate for Team Impact, ended up getting the wipe, but right now, Coreagaming is in the driver's seat, and has all the opportunity in front of them, Rails, to take a commanding lead if they could kill this tank.
That was ridiculous, because when Lewis got punched in the corner, he went flying up the side of the hill, fell back down, took fall damage, and then he got pounced. That Smoker got another pull for the tank, I think, after that, but that Smoker was absolutely deadly. On the special infected side, getting, you know, essentially 2 corners for the tank, but that hittable that landed onto Bill as well, just that kind of free car in that area, you really can't afford to have that happen on Survivor's side in any situation, but especially not this early, and now this is going to put the pressure onto Team Impact. I keep wanting to call them Team Simpact because half of them are tagged up that way. But at the same point in time, I think this map has been heavily nerfed because of what we just saw happen, where it is such a hittable and somewhat random base tank in some ways, or it can look random at least based on what's going on. And I think that's why the distance for this map is like either 300 or 400 compared to like the 500 it used to be on older configs, which is good to see, just for the sake of a close game. But as we are live now with the second half of map 1, Smoker Pull is going to miss onto Kane there in the front. Now it's going to land with that Hunter looking to cover, and he's actually completely separated up top. The Hunter is going to pounce down below. I think he could have been even a little bit more patient for that, as Kane is going to take a decent amount of damage. Jockey lands onto Bill as well, and he gets jockeyed all the way off. That's almost an in-cap onto Bill because of what that jockey just did, and this is everything, like I said, we could have asked for. There's a random Smoker tongue on my screen as well because the tank is now going to be up into the hands of Slay himself, another player who has been around the competitive Left 4 Dead 2 scene at such a high level for quite a long time. Obviously had a lot of experience on Team South Stars before, and he's got 2 hittables in play immediately, MK, as he works his way up this other side of the hill.
Yes, one thing at I will call them Team Simpact, they actually sacked their boomer early, which got that jockey into play enough to make that all happen. So it was a good play on them. They got much more damage pre-tank, but Team Simpact needs to get the wipe to match what happened to them. And right now their spawns are 100 boomer charger. What a triple boom, Rails!
Okay, well, this is an example of both Survivor teams now making some unfortunate errors, at least to start. We saw the hittable on the last half, and this triple boom is not going to help Team Coreagaming's chances right here either, as the sedan is being hit into the air. The hatchback's going the opposite direction. One right, one left. Those cars are now going in pretty close to one another. Survivors are trying to kite around. Tank gets a jump punch and is now going to hit the hatchback up the hill. He hasn't managed to land it onto a Survivor yet, and there's still a lot of horde. He gets a punch now onto Lewis. Turning around the hatchback, going for that car, not going to land. Going for a punch behind him now, and he's down to under 2k HP as the support is in. Hunter is going for a pin. Charger is going to land. Car's going in opposite direction, and there is the car going out onto Bill. The hatchback going, spinning around, bouncing towards Kane, but it's not going to be another in-cap, and the tank has to be super careful now. He's under 700 HP with one survivor down, going for a rock, not going to land it because Kane is going to drop the pickup, and he's got one more hittable hit in him here, I'm fairly sure, and he has to either go for it now, and he's going to, and he's going to in-cap Kane with 200 HP. Backing off once again, he's down to 100 HP now, throwing a rock in, but he's got two survivors exactly where he needs them. Boomer's gonna spawn up, is gonna land! Jockey lands onto Zoe, rock going around the corner, not gonna land, it's gonna get skeeted, but he's going for the car with 100 HP, throwing that hatchback in, getting a hit onto Bill. The tank is almost dead, and he is going to die with two survivors bleeding out on the street. MK, that was almost a kill. Could have been a wipe based on those car hits, but that is the kind of energy that we're seeing from this match so far.
Yes, well, Team Impact basically took all their bonus away. The only thing left is just a little bit of health bonus on the survivors with permanent health and the set of pills. They're going to have a 2-2 since it is post-tank. It's going to be Charger, Hunter, Boomer, and a Spitter. They're setting the first survivor up. Boomer's going to pre-spawn, and now it's going to cause the survivors just to bait a little bit. Okay, the Boomer gets popped nicely. Hunter's going to come in for the top Charger. Actually, the Hunter took the Charger's target. Charger's going to miss. The Spit's going to land. That's going to be another in-cap rails, but they're going to make it up alive.
Yeah, and sort of as we were looking at the start of the cast, this is going to be a special infected-sided game. These hits have proven it, where I think on both attempts at taking the ladder, Bill has suffered an in-cap or close to it, where he got jockeyed off the first time, and then that time, you know, basically the entire hit went onto him that way, where the Hunter managed to land, Spitter went down too, Kane's going to be slow, they have no pills left and only 165 bonus. They're going to have the lead, but I don't think any lead is safe at this point whatsoever. The Charger is going to get annihilated, though, by the survivors on that. Jockey's not going to land, Smoker's got nothing, Boomer's got a single boom, and that's about it.
Yeah, they didn't get much out of that one, but they did kill the Boomer and the Smoker last, so they're going to get Charge, Spit, Hunter, Jockey. This is going to be a good attack going down the spiral stairs. I believe they're going to have spawns up for it. The only bonus right now is going to be on Zoe and Francis, so we should see not one of them take the lead.
Right.
Actually, it scales black and white. I did not see that.
Yeah, and with Bill being black and white, they really can't afford, well, it depends on if they're thinking they can make the safe room or not when they decide to cut and run the bonus, because Zoe is still sitting with a decent amount of HP that way. Hunter is going to go in, managing to land with a Spit, going on top of that, everything actually going out onto Francis, and that shows that they're not quite ready to ditch everyone and go to the safe room. They're actually going to try to keep this going as a full team, but the problem is now they're going to have two people black and white, and they're going to have one other who's looking for their second in-cap off of that. So at this point, Team Impact could decide to try to kill a survivor, or they could try just to mitigate that entire bonus, because they're getting close to those 400 distance points, and if that's what Team Impact can limit them to, then it's still going to be quite a close match going into Map 2, Map 3, depending on what happens next chapter. I've already described my hatred, I think, for Death Toll Map 2, even though this is one of my favorite campaigns in the game, and we'll see if that proves true for these survivor teams as well. One more hit for Team Coreagaming to navigate. That's going to be a Smoker, Hunter, Jockey, and a Boomer for Team Impact. And MK, this is an area where they kind of need this boom to land to do a massive amount of damage.
Yeah, I think at this point they'll be perfectly happy just getting rid of the bonus rather than getting the wipe. They want to probably take Zoe all the way down to nothing, and they did miss a set of pills. As the Boomer rockets in, gets a proxy onto one. The Hunter gets killed right away. Jockey does land in the end. Smoker gets self-cleared.
Not Jockey, though.
This is all on bonus, too. Takes it down to 63.
That's going to be 3 survivors black and white, and Zoe is still sitting there with still 56 HP. That's going to be all the bonus, because I don't think there's going to be time for another hit to go in, and that's going to be a great job by Coreagaming, getting the wipe and then making the safe room. 484 points for them on the first round of this best of one right here on Death Toll. Round 5 of the loser brackets of RBT6, 484 to 119 over Team Impact, so still a 300 and caster math game, 75-point game. No, not 75, 65, right, as I said, caster math. Going into map 2, that tank by Slay, had he been able to get just one more hit onto one of the down survivors there, that's a kill. It was so close to that. When he had like 100 HP, he decommitted with less than 100, and Zoe was able to kill him when he went around the side of the bus, but I cannot overstate how close that was to either like a kill, a double kill, or even a wipe that way. But when he committed with that triple boom in both cars, you know, he managed to get some open punches on the survivors in the safe room, but it can be so close between basically just getting in caps versus getting a wipe in a situation where you've got 2 survivors down in a low health tank. Both these teams are as hyped as we are with this because they have readied up as fast as you would ever see in a match like this, I am fairly sure. Coreagaming on Survivor side, Team Impact on Special Infected, 21% early tank MK. The hits just keep on coming from the Special Infected side of this match, and I love it.
Yeah, we're going to have a really early tank. We'll see if one survivor stays in the safe room for this attack. As they send the spawns in now, and they get baited. Charger gets melted. Jockey gets shot in the face. Hunter does land, followed by a spit. Jockey might try to stumble a little bit, and that's going to be very minimal. Only 1 on the board there, Rails. A little questionable on the hit. I
mean, of the players to watch in this game, in my opinion, who play shotgun, Kane is way up there in terms of exactly how he does it. And on that play, quote unquote, right, on that hit, you know, they put him in the door, all the SI went in that way, and even had he gotten pinned right there, he's still in the safe room, so the spit wouldn't have spread that much. But to take no damage on that, it just shows the survivors have to be as patient as possible. Smoker is going to get a pull outside. Boomer went for a boom, is going to get a proxy boom onto Bill, interestingly enough, and there is a charger in the queue. The tank is up into the hands of Healy right now for Team Impact, another longtime player in the competitive scene. And this tank, MK, I mean, if he can get it down on his own, this really does come down to survivor positioning. If somebody gets early cornered because the tank can jump across the center, like, center electrical boxes there and get some kind of corner onto either the survivor standing on top of the map or maybe one of the ones who's standing on the railings, that would be ideal for them. But I think the tank's going to take about no more chip, going to commit with this Hunter Jockey Charger, so the standard set for that. And exactly as I mentioned, there's the tank jumping in, going for that early corner onto Francis, going to have 1 more punch before he's down, but he's already almost dead. He's down to 1200 HP. Charger goes in, is going to miss. The Hunter is going to land onto Zoe. The tank has a corner onto Bill, but the Jockey is also dead. Punch going out onto Zoe once again. Another one going out onto Zoe, and the tank is going to get out almost before dying. Decent take by Coreagaming, but also a decent tank by Team Impact. Had that charger landed, it would have been different, but MK, they had that tank down to 1400 HP before support went in.
Yeah, Survivors did a really good job on doing massive amount of damage to this tank so fast, even though he got a very fast corner. So they did a great job on that. They do survive. There's, like you said, there's an in cap, and I believe 2 other survivors were put at to half health. As they're going to send to an attack, and now a 1 boom does land. Smoker spawns, gets a pull in the back. Unfortunately, the Jockey took the same target, a little bit of free spit damage onto the boom target. A pull gets self-cleared by the proxy boom, and that'll be that attack dealt with there, Rails. And right now, Zoe's getting beat in the back pretty bad.
I was looking at that. I think because of the way this game has gone, right now all the momentum, I'm fairly sure, is on Team Coreagaming's side, just because they had the lead and they also did not wipe at that tank. They're trying to make quick work of this map on Survivor side, and then ideally for them, they would be going for a wipe in the safe room on that tank if they could get it. But next, this hit's going to come in with the Hunter managing to land in the front. Charger got focused down in the back with the Jockey dying, a little bit of spit damage going out onto Lewis and also Bill by extension, but this is still a really nice bonus for Team Coreagaming, and they are going as fast as possible. Kane in that first position with that shoddy is making quick work of the map as they go, and they really, if they can keep everybody fast, because Francis just committed pills, there's probably only like 2.5 more hits left on this if they hold W that fast, maybe 3.
Yeah, as a boomer does go in, Solo gets sacked first, which means you're gonna have a 2-2. The Charger and the Smoker land. 1 slam goes out. And actually, someone's being pulled for quite a bit. That's a lot of damage going on to Bill. That's going to make him slow.
Yeah, that's kind of what you needed to see from Team Impact, just because I think they've figured out that Coreagaming are going full W mode on this. And for a game with this kind of ping, it's like I mentioned, where this is the map that's going to be the most detrimental to both Survivor teams, just because of the map being as kind of claustrophobic in the tunnels as it is. This last hit isn't as bad, but there are rocket spawns here for the SI to use. Spitter, Jockey, Boomer, and a Hunter for Team Impact next on this hit. And this actually could be the last one, depending on how this goes. There is going to be a pound spit landing onto Kane with a Jockey going for him as well. The M2 does go out, and Kane is going to get drugged directly outside with a triple boom down below. That is the best that Team Impact could have asked for, I'm fairly sure, on that hit. MK, because it's going to put Kane slow. The bonus is being hit by every single common right now that manages to touch one of the survivors, because it is just damage bonus, and that's also bought the SI 1 more hit.
That is correct. The jockey, I did believe, actually ended up killing itself. So now it's going to be Charger, Smoker, Hunter, and I believe a Boomer. So they're going to have a retro attack accompanied by the Charger. And right now they're a little separated. The Boomer's going to get a one boom in front on the Survivor inside. There's huge separation right now. The pole's going to go out. Oh, the Charger missed his rocket spawn, unfortunately for him. Hunter gets nicely skeeted. And I don't know what the Charger's going to get out of this rail. Probably nothing at all at this point.
The Charger should have been in with the rest of that. Had the Charger been in, it might have been able to help that Hunter. Kane got the skeet, and then the Smoker went for the pull at the same time. That was a ridiculous proxy boom on the Racer in the front, I'm pretty sure. But all things considered, 652 points with a over 1k point lead prior to Team Impact going on Survivor side. This is the ideal position that you want to be in if you're Team Coreagaming right now. Just because you have the knowledge that, okay, you've got the lead this way, you've played well on Survivor side, you've made both maps so far, now put the pressure on Impact and see exactly what this tank can do. As we go live with the second half of this second round right here, it's going to be Team Impact on Survivor side, Team Coreagaming on SI. How about you take us through this first hit, MK, before this tank?
Alright, the opening attack's going to be Hunter, Spitter, Jockey, and a Charger. The other side, we saw one first. Their SI didn't do anything. They got baited. So Coreagaming seems to be a little bit more patient right now. Hunter is on the left side. Charger's up to the right on the other side of the Survivors. As we have Francis coming out with shotgun. There had 3 shotguns, 1 Uzi. And it looks like Francis is going to go left. And they're going to send the attack in now. The Hunter does land. The Spit's going to land. It's going to be a lot of damage onto one of the Survivors. Oh, this is going to be a lot. Let's see how much he goes down to. All the way down to 59 rails.
Exactly.
That's a
So
lot of damage.
Comparing those first hits, that's why I said it was actually rather impressive for Coreagaming to not take any damage on that just by merit of the hit that was there. And with that same SI setup, we managed to see, you know, basically, was it 45 damage go out on the board overall for Coreagaming, which is good for them because they managed to get Slay at least decently injured prior to this tank committing. But now we're actually going to be seeing the tank roll close to the Survivors with a Smoker and a Boomer dying. So it's going to be that Hunter, Jockey, and a Charger setup once again, MK, and I think that's actually the ideal hit for this because the tank is going to look to take absolutely no damage. Survivors aren't really going to look to chip him either, which they could have been doing during this hit, but I think at this point, after the first hit, they're just looking to be as well positioned as possible, and they're going to be in decent spots on top of the electrical boxes. Francis is going to be cutting back to that left-hand corner, and depends on if this tank can actually jump over and quickly get a corner. Similar to what we saw in the last half. The Survivors are going to have to shoot him as much as they possibly can as he's going to be committing. And he's going for that same early punch, but he's not going to get it. And actually, he has no one right now as the Survivors are kiting their way back around. Now he's got Lewis in the corner. Slay is going to take 2 punches there, and then he's going to get out of the tank's grasp for just 1 second before going down. But the tank's going to retarget onto Francis, getting a corner that way. Everything going into Survivors, and the Charger's actually going to die. The Hunter pounces an in-cap, dude. Double punch goes out onto Francis and Zoe. Tank going for a punch now onto Bill, but that is going to be all this tank is going to get. I think he accidentally killed the Charger. The Hunter pounced an in-cap guy. That could have been so much more damage, MK, but instead it's comparable, and Team Impact are now on the move.
Yeah, that is correct. But one thing to notice that when the tank did commit their rails, after he got the first in-cap, the tank still had 2k health compared to the other tank that had 700 as soon as the cap went out. So Team Impact did not focus the tank as much as Coreagaming at the moment, but it came out to the exact same amount of damage. 1 Survivor in cap, 2 about half health, so I think it's dead even at this point. As a 1 boom goes out, Smoker misses, unfortunately. The Charger does land. The Spit's going to go onto it, and that's going to be a little bit more damage onto Zoe. That's going to cause Zoe to have to pop another set of pills. And right now, Rails, it's at 599 bonus. They still have a chance to make up some points here if they can hold on to this the rest of the map.
But yeah, now it's going to be a balance to how well can they clear the Survivors in the back and how hard can they push. We saw Coreagaming do it quite well, and we're actually going to be seeing Team Impact take this hit in the tunnels in the exact same fashion with pretty much no delay. And interestingly enough, this is the longest they've been on Survivor side without a tank so far in this game. So it's going to come down to how well they can take these hits. Charger's going to go in with the Hunter as well. Hunter's going to land. Smoker has a pull on Francis at the top of the tunnel as well for just a bit more damage. And actually after that, that's going to be causing Team Impact to push themselves into this horde. And the reason that I was saying a balance here, MK, is because you want to see that W, but you also want to make sure the Survivors are in decent enough position to take these hits as they come in. This bridge is only coming down right now, and that's going to mean Team Impact is going to have to take this hit probably in this area here next to the room, at least until the rest of the common go out if they want to be safe.
Yes, indeed. And actually that attack took about 70 bonus off their health, but they lost 40 more points of bonus off just at the commons there. So not the best job on the clearing, but there's a 2-cap going in the back. The smoker lands a tri-boom going out. So much spit damage. Oh my goodness.
Here's yeah, slays down on top of the railing. I'm sorry, MK. This is what I didn't want to see Team Impact do, just because I think they were looking to just make as quick work of the map as possible, but they opened themselves up to a 2-2 with those spawns in between there, where the hunter and the jockey almost got a double cap in the back. It resulted in an in-cap onto Slay, and they cleared the jockey, but I think that was just a tad bit overzealous on the Survivor side.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And the separation gave 2 survivors in the back. They both got capped, which leads to a lot of damage. Swimming around on the spit, but at the moment they still have a little bit more bonus, I believe. They can still win this round as the spawns are coming in. Pole goes forward. Charger does get 1 survivor all the way back with a pounce stumble in the front, 2 rails, but no slams. And now it's just a smoker and a jockey for the rest of the map.
Okay, now on the opposite side of things, I like that call just because that jockey wasn't in queue and the SI wanted to go before the survivors were out of that corner. They managed to clear the charger before it got a massive amount of damage. Smoker's going to get cleared, jockey gets M2'd and shut down. It's going to be a very, very comparable game as we're going to be seeing Team Impact make the safe room with just a bit of delay from that smoker pull into the back. They probably could have taken the lead had they just managed to avoid that 2-2 a bit better. Spit's going to go down for a delay. And we're going to see that boom from underneath. But in a game like this where both teams are playing on high ping, like if that's a green ping play, I'm with them 100%. But when you have a team that's this good on the other side playing on ping, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Either way, they have made the safe room and they have gotten back just a bit of that difference. It's going to be 301 points separating these two teams going into map 3 and map 4. And I do believe we're all hoping for a death toll finale as well. We'll ask that question. Actually, I'll ask that next map just to get it out of the way. But MK, when it comes down to death toll, map 4 is like the big hittable tank if it happens near the safe room. This one is super hit or miss on map 3.
Yes, I'm interested to see what spawn we're going to get. If it's going to be early, are we going to have some survivors run back? Are we going to see any survivors play aggressive and press forward? And we're going to have a late tank at Israel's. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. I wonder, if you had to fight this tank, Rails, what would be your take on it as Survivor?
I have a question. Oh,
yes.
That's a good question.
Was that the question?
Yeah, if they play finale.
Yeah. I'm asking them because honestly I'm cool with it either way. I'm pretty sure we want to see 1 to... Your team decides. Kane wants to do 1 to 4. I mean, this would be good for us to know now, I'm pretty sure. I mean, if Kane wants to do 1 to... I think it's 1 to 4, yeah.
Isn't it if they don't agree, they play finale? Isn't that it? If they don't talk about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Either way, I mean, I would love to see a 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 here, but I think, like I said, I'll give a quick shout out to Fig and the rules after this map because, like you mentioned, this tank's going to be late, and I think the losing team decides is the right way to do it because it really does depend on how close they are. This is going to be the first hit though. Going in, Charger's going to land in the safe room. Spit is actually going to get down from the roof and get a spit onto that as well. That's a decent amount of damage going out on that hit. The Hunter managed to land too. But yeah, MK, a 78% tank here means one of two things has to happen. Either survivors have to preserve their bonus well enough to go all the way back to the safe room once they hit that second house, or they have to decide to fight the tank at the second house, or at some point a little bit before that where it's still possible for a car to like basically cleave everybody in half depending on where they go. So I don't know. If it's me in a game like this, if we have the health, we're going back to safe room because it's a playoff match this deep in the bracket, but in a different world, they might have to take it forward. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see, as right now they have a retro attack accompanied by the jockey with a pre-spawn hunter above them. Traditional spot where the smoker's going to come from to try to reset them and play Ring Around the Rosie for as long as possible before the survivors can press on. Looks like the jockey's coming from the rear behind Lewis. Boomer coming from the front. They all take the shortcut, which one survivor did not make it. This is in danger of being a lot of damage if they can get Zoe inside the house, but no, they cannot. But now the survivors have to retreat to come and help Zoe. And even though it got kind of crazy there, Rails, this is not going to turn out to that much damage.
Well, I mean, this is a situation where, with 3 survivors boom, they managed to get that clear onto Francis in the back, but you hear Zoe spamming sorry, because this is going to give the SI another hit. The Charger's not going to be in position to make a play on Francis. The Hunter, though, is going to be bouncing around underneath the survivors. Rest of the hits trying to go in as well, but this Charger really has nowhere to go. And now he's going to almost land, but he can get the insta-clear onto him with that Spitter and Boomer looking to die last. I mean, that, I think, was a case of the SI scrambling just a bit. There is going to be a Rocket Boom for a single proxy, it looks like, onto Zoe. But that Charger really needed to rocket from the roof there or something. He didn't have time to really set it up because they were going fast. The Hunter was already bouncing around making noise, but that Charger had no realistic target. I don't think it's going to really matter for them because they have to go through the house, actually, it looks like, to spawn the tank. And there's going to be another hit looking to go in now. Jockey, Smoker, Hunter, and Charger. It is going to be a quad. But the survivors, what separated them so far, aside from that tank wipe on map 1, well, we'll get to that in a second. Smoker pull is going to go out. Charger goes for a long charge, not going to land. Hunter is going to land for a split second. Charger gets a punch onto Francis. Smoker pull goes out again in the back. But it's actually indicative of what happened on that hit. Coreagaming are going fast enough to where they're taking damage, but they are forcing the SI to hit pretty much where they want them to. And we're going to see them, I think, go all the way back for this, like I mentioned, because that is the one place to really shut this tank down. And press W for Team Impact / SI Impact here is going to have to do some decent work. He's probably not going to bring his car for this, but he is going to be basically just following the survivors and hoping they can get slowed down. With some of the SI hits we've seen so far, MK, I wouldn't be surprised to see something huge here. That Boomer getting shut down, though, is a good start for the survivors on their transition.
Absolutely it is. Tank is going to decide to try to get this hittable. I think he should just leave it. But right now, they're going to be able to take this choke point. I think only with a Jockey and a Charger in the way. I don't think they're going to get anything. They think they're going to go in now. The Charger charges off the roof. It ain't going to land. Jockey gets M2'd and shut down. I think if the tank ignored that hittable, he might have been able to almost cut them off their rails with at least a hittable out in the open, but he elected not to, and right now he's trying to get the second hittable in play. And, no, he's not going to get it. And he's going to lose his first pass as well. He's only going to have one hittable here, rails. And he has a Hunter, Smoker, and a Boomer at the moment. Just retro attack.
Boomer absolutely needs to land. That's what this is going to come down to here. The Boomer absolutely needs to land. If it doesn't land, then this is going to be, you know, unless they get some random hittable, it would be a 0% chance with only 3 SI. But thankfully for the SI, that Boomer has landed a single boom, and we'll be getting another pinner as this tank is on second pass, working his way in. We have one survivor who's completely separated in the back. That's going to be a car going up onto Zoe. What a huge error, because 3 survivors were in the tower, and I was like, why are there 3 in the tower when someone's supposed to be watching her? And then the Smoker immediately pulls the boom survivor, and that's death. That is a complete death, just like that. I thought it was going to be easy for the survivors, easy for the tank so far, with 4k HP still following them, and a tri-cap now in the queue. Car is going to go flying over as well. That was a big positional miscommunication on Coreagaming's part right there, where they should have been 2 and 2, but instead 3 survivors were going for the chip in the tower. The Smoker pulling out at the exact right time, and now it's still a 4k HP tank with a car going flying into the tower once again as the tank climbs up the side, going to miss a punch there and almost being forced to crouch underneath, down to 2k. This is now really going the survivors' direction after that early kill, but the Hunter is going to land a pounce with another pull and a punch going out like that. Rock is going to be thrown onto Francis as well. Kane taking some damage from that as the tank is going to be looking to decommit. It started off amazingly for the SI, but now the survivors are doing their best at turning this back around with just 3. It looks as though that is going to be all the 6 again. Never mind. One more punch onto Kane through the bushes. Man, that was such a wild tank fight, MK, where the survivors made a huge misplay at the start, and then honestly, I feel like the SI could have been just a bit more patient. When the tank recommitted and went for the survivors in the tower, you cannot crouch through that thing next to the air conditioning thing.
No, I'm just can't believe that the separation like that. They were greedy for the chip. They had 3 survivors in the tower. Lehman the boomed one all by himself on the train, leaving a pulled separation as the Boomer rockets in. He does get a 1 boom. The Hunter does land with the spit followed by probably just get a stumble here. Yes, we do. That'll take Bill down to slow. He'll have to commit his set of pills as well here, Rails. But now they'll be able to take this choke point. 1 dead survivor, 374 bonus. But I think at this point, if you're the survivors, Rails, you just want to get all the distance and at least make it to the church door.
And the one advantage of having a survivor dead, I suppose, is that you can have a little bit of help when it comes to looking around for any kind of SI. But with 3 survivors on high ping like this, if a boom lands and they get at all separated, they could very easily die. The hit's going to be going in now with the Jockey and the Hunter and the Smoker all coming from the back, but the survivors have taken the open field once again. Boomer's going to jump in and get shut down by Kane with everything coming from behind. None of this is going to land, mark my words, because it's too much distance between the SI and the survivors to do really anything. And unfortunately, that's actually the second time we've seen this map where in that exact same spot, Coreagaming have gone forward into the open like that, and even with 3 survivors, they're still going to hold W as much as they can because they know their chance of getting into the safe room during this event with high ping and quad attempts with a full horde is going to be quite a doozy. They can do it, but they're going to have to shut down things similar to what we just saw, and it's going to come down to how well they use the space as they decide to start this event with this hit up. It's going to be a Hunter Spitter, Boomer, and a Charger. Hunter going in, going to manage to land onto Kane, but the spit is not going to land. Boomer drops in for a single boom onto Francis, but that's a little bit of damage missed. There is only 1 set of pills left, MK, and they're probably going to take this on the tombstones.
Yeah, I think actually that SI attack was a little rushed. They went for separate targets. I think they should just stack and get the bonus down at this point. That's all they need to focus, is get the bonus down to practically nothing, and I don't even think they sacked right to get a 2-2. I don't think it's going to be a quad, or did I not see it right? Let's see. Smoker, Hunter, Jockey. Okay, they did get it. I was incorrect. So they're going to get a quad try with Horde, and they're going to send the Hunter here. Okay, they're going in now. Smoker gets a pull forward, gets cleared right away. The Charger lands, the Hunter lands, the Jockey's coming in. Oh, the Jock. Oh, there's a clear. The pull does come out. The Jockey. There it is. Okay, they get the wipe.
Okay, that's exactly what they needed to do, and that's why you saw Team Coreagaming hold W as much, because they really wanted to get just those distance points. With that full horde going in, the important thing is that the Charger was able to land for a split second. Smoker, Tongue, this is something that I've seen in this game for so long, right? But the Smoker Tongue getting cleared early like that, it's a 4-second reset now, I believe, in this version of Zone Mod, but it's almost, as the survivors, it's like, man, you clear the Tongue too fast in some areas, because that Smoker had a repull then to be able to intercept the survivor who was trying to clear the Hunter, and then the Jockey managed to get that last pin. That was an incredible job by the SI, and now the question is, will Team Impact on survivor side be able to take advantage of this opportunity that they've created for themselves with that kill? You saw how easy it is for something like that to go down, and it's going to come down to positioning once again. For me, it's 2 survivors max in the tower, and then 2 survivors back on those trains, and if they can do that and avoid a boom, they could easily shut this tank down, but it's going to be up to Coreagaming to see if they can stop that from happening. Hunter's going to go in with that Charger as well. Jockey is going to die. The Pound Spit gets absolutely no damage for what it was, honestly.
Yeah, I thought it would have been a little bit more for the Pound Spit. It gets 1 survivor down to 93, so they have 5 punches, 1 survivor down to 4. The Charger's going to remain alive. Going to despawn and get his health up to 527. I don't know what the other spawns are going to be. I know they're going to get a Smoker, Boomer, and the last spawn coming up in rotation here is going to be a Jockey, as the Boomer just gets pretty just a sack, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, this is going to be the Smoker managing to land. Charger lands on the Bill as well. Jockey is going to get shut down, but that Charger actually gets a long charge for a reset. It's obviously not as annoying as it would be in a situation without a coordinated team, but dare I say it, MK, at least from those first 2 hits, this is the best I've seen Team Impact on the survivor side so far. I don't think they're, like, quite making the SI hit, like, 100% out of sync. I don't think it's that, but I think this is the clearest momentum shift towards Team Impact side that we've seen so far with that kill in 3-cap.
Yes, as a 10, wall kick goes in with a spit. Actually, the spit fails, unfortunately. So they try to make a little bit of a play to get damaged onto Lewis to get him down below, I believe, 4 punches, but it was unsuccessful. Spit misses, Hunter gets cleared. Boomer and the Jockey are up in rotation, and I do believe there's a chance they get this tank spawn rails before the other 2 spawns are up.
Indeed, and now we see the survivors on Team Impact. It's just going to come down to, can they cleanly make their way back to the safe room with this health? That's the question that they have to ask, and they're about to get the tank spawned, I think without any further incident, but they're taking it as patiently as they need to, which is great, because Charger, Smoker, Jockey, Boomer can do a decent amount of damage in this area. We rely on separation, plus I think some of the higher ping, like we've mentioned throughout this match, but honestly, both these teams are so used to playing on it that it's more of a positional thing right now than it is a ping thing for both sides, I would say. Charger's going to go for a long charge, not going to land. Smoker is going to have its tongue cleared. Jockey lands for a split second, and the Charger manages to get a punch off that as well, but the tank's going to be up for Team at Coreagaming once again, and now it's going to be about, is this tank going to bring this car all the way back? But like we've said, MK, so far it's been all hittables, and it really does depend on some SI coordination to help, I think, to get one of these to land. Knock on wood, I'd be very surprised to see a free car here, for example.
Yeah, me too. As spawns come up, I believe they're going to be able to get everybody up there. Boomer looks like he wants to come from below. Jockey's going to spawn. The Boomer's going to go, gets a 1 boom. Hunter lands, but gets cleared right away. The Jockey's probably not going to get much. No, he does not. And now look at this, actually, Rails. The tank's choosing to put a car on the other side. Maybe,
Oh,
it's
boy.
unfortunate. It went really out of the way. And he is already in second pass here, Rails.
Invisible wall. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
it is.
That's
I
why you
didn't know
can't do that. Yeah, no, you can't do this because that one will be not over either because there's an invisible wall that separates that entire side because that it would be so easy to hit that hittable in and then just go with it, but he's now going to have to rely on sight from the people in the tower to even get this other hittable into play. He is so low on frustration, but he's going to manage to make his way in with a boomer charger and a smoker. Not the ideal setup for this area just because of the charger, in my opinion. The smoker's going to have to make some kind of play. Car goes over the top! It's a free car onto Francis. That's another survivor on the train, just getting absolutely TKO'd by a car. This time it was actually a free car that landed, and one survivor got stuck, teleports into the tank's face, and this might actually be a counter wipe coming out from Coreagaming. The pills are going to go out for Bill, but it's all on Healy and Chad right now to keep this alive. The smoker is going to get cleared, but Chad is not going to be able to outrun this tank, and that was Francis catching the free car that I didn't think we were going to see. I hit my desk, but he must not have hit his. That is so unfortunate for Team Impact on that, and that car just cleaved directly across the top. MK, it is all hittables all the time on Channel 7 News Death Toll Edition, basically.
That was incredible car to hit that guy on the back of the train there, Rails. That was beautiful. I mean, you needed to make a big play with your tank. You tried to play with the other hittable, which didn't go your way. Hit the invisible wall. You had to go over and get the other one. You only had so many opportunities to get that hit. He put it into place. No SI help. And he landed it perfectly. And not only did he land it perfectly, but he goes up the stairs and causes a separation with a 2-boom. And the SI cleaned it up beautifully. Very well played by the infected team.
That was absolutely incredible, and this does not help Team Impact's chances to have this at 83%. I'm going to quickly check the rules for 1 sec, so I'll let MK give us a little bit of a rundown for what you think is going to happen this chapter as I do that.
Yeah, well, this is going to be...
It's like when teams didn't talk about map 5 at all before the game. I think they're playing finale. That's what I remember from rules.
Yes, I do believe that's what happened with the Dark Carnival match. I didn't talk about it, and actually there it is. There's the call for finale, 1 through 5. There it is. So it looks like we are going to, yes, and we're readying up right now. We are going to see finale. We're not going to see a depth charge chance out of the safe room, though, because it's only going to be a 2-2.
According to the rules on a neutral 1 through 5, then map 5 is played, so we are playing map 5.
Yes, it is. And the opening attack is actually, they rush out. One survivor stays in. This could be bad, but they did not notice it, fortunately for them.
Into spit! That's actually a decent amount of damage there onto Bill, and that does help Team Impact's chances, of course, MK, for 2 reasons. First one, the tank is late, and the second one, this event no longer terminates, so they would have to kill the tank and then also make it to the safe room through an entire event horde, which I think is one of the most ferocious in the entire game, if I'm being real. The Death Toll map 4 horde does not stop until you get all the way to the safe room, and on high ping, definitely not the situation you want to be in, but conversely, for Team Coreagaming on Survivor side, they just need to keep relying on their SI. If they can make this map, that would be absolutely huge for them to give them the advantage going into what will be the finale now. And the charge is going to go in, though, managing to land onto Francis with a boom going out in the back, and there is the spit going down onto Kane. The jockey's going to jump onto his face for a bit more damage, so this is about the same kind of trade we've seen from either side. At least having these hits do something, but at this point, you know, 83% means they have to take this tank either in the offices or in the ambulance that is now replacing. This is the point in the game where Rails shows his map knowledge or lack thereof. Where I'm like, oh yeah, they can fight it on the gas tanker that's usually outside. Now it's just an ambulance in front of my face instead with the stubble boom.
Yeah, 2-boom does go out. All the spawns are going to hold for the choke point now. They do have access to the roof over here. So all the spawns are, yep, Hunter's already just rotating. Charger's sitting up there as survivors are just going to clear out all these commons to take this choke point uncontested, basically. A lot of damage can come out of here as they wait for the last spawn to come up. Is it going to be a quad or is it going to be spit? Okay, so they have charged spit and a smoker along with the hunter here, Rails. This could be a lot of damage going out here, depending on if the SI can capitalize it. And the hunter goes. The hunter gets his land forward, gets cleared right away, but the charger does land in the spit. But that was close to not getting cleared.
That is so much damage going out onto Bill. It's going to knock him down to 43 HP because that pre-spit went down right before that charger went in, and that's another great hit from Team Impact. Impact are fighting as hard as they possibly can to keep this as close as possible. And you know what's going to happen here? Because that tank's at 83%, I haven't seen this spawn in a super long time. For me, personally, I think the last time I played it was EFPS in like 2017, but this tank is actually going to be at the bus in front. This double cap's going to go out in the back, though. Before that even happens, with the Hunter landing on top of Zoe, and the jockey's still going on to onto Lewis in the back around this bus that's on its side. That is a tremendous amount of damage. It is still not cleared. That is so much damage onto Razor. It's ridiculous, and they can't hold the event, MK. The reason I bring that up is because they're going to have to go to the corner here with the tank spawning and maybe even kill him there, depending on what happens, or they're going to have to take a transition hit in the back. But Team Impact's SI so far are all over them this map.
Yeah, the Spitter respawns. The Charger, they're going to go in real quick before the tank spawns. Smoker gets a pullback. The Charger's going to land. The Spit's going to be blocked, but he stands in it anyways. A little free Spit damage onto Zoe there, Rails. But I don't think anybody's slow yet. No, they're all still fast. Fortunate enough for them as they start the run back. A one boom does land, and the tank did not go the back way to cut them off. He's going to take the front way.
Yeah, so Chad, I think, was going for something else there to cut them off, but then he was in that first bank and trust room for just a hot second. It's not going to matter that much because this car is going to go rocketing through the air. The survivors are going to make their way back to the offices, which is pretty much the standard spot to fight this, or they're actually going to push back through this. I don't know about this. Okay, the reason that I don't like this on Survivor side right now isn't because of this spot, and there's a certain North American player who would do this same strategy, because now the tank's behind, and now they're going to run forward and try to AI him.
Yeah, they went AI.
I'm not quite invoking Haxer mode here quite yet, but it's very, very close to it, as the survivors are going to be in position for a hittable, but the hittable bounces off a tree. That is completely insane, because that was looking like at least a double dumpster, but the tank is completely alone. Chad is going to get a punch, though, onto Francis. Carr is going to go spinning behind him. He is completely alone, missing a punch there onto Kane, missing another punch onto Kane. Chad down to 3k HP. This was so close to something so different, but that dumpster nicked the branch of that tree and was not able to capitalize because the survivors were forcing them in, but they have 3 survivors bleeding and an event still to take. This is not over yet for Team Impact either. That boomer is going to die. Tank is on 85% frustration, second pass, and now the survivors are going to be bleeding. He almost would want to rock tank this, I think, at this point, MK, because there's no way he recommits with that health, I don't think.
No, it was beautiful baiting by the survivors. They just wanted to make sure it went AI. They had to send all their support in just to make sure the tank wouldn't go AI, and Miracle Dumpster did not land, and neither did the car. The survivors surround him, knocked him down to 2,500 HP, and right now he has a tri-cap, and I think he's got to go in for a miracle here, and he's going to go for it. That car is not hittable. He's down to 2k HP. Here goes the spawn. The jockey lands. Hunter gets skeeted. Charger misses, and I don't think it's going to be much of anything here, Rails. I don't know what he's going to get. Car is stuck on the sign. He's down to 1k HP. One more miracle hit, maybe, if he's lucky. Goes a rock. Oh, it almost did land, but it does not. Car goes flying, and that is a dead tank. Just about. Still alive, and that is it.
Managed to draw it out enough to where the Horde now is going to be going in, but that's a one-punch tank going out, unfortunately, for Team Impact. And it looked a whole lot better, but had that dumpster been able to land, it would have been huge. They're going to be going for a quad now, it would look like, because that boomer and the Spitter went, but now the Smoker's going to go too, actually, on the one survivor below. If they can get Zoe, right, just to go slow, that would be huge for them, because it's going to be a never-ending Horde at this point from where the survivors are. That's why, even though they shut the tank down as well as they did, the reason I was skeptical about this is just now because they have to retake the entire map, and Zoe is slow, so they have no pills. It's going to be a full event Horde plus a bunch of SI hits on ping. I suppose it's better than the offices on ping, depending on how it goes, but the Horde is actually going to be mostly behind at this point, interestingly enough, so the survivors are going to be working their way through this with almost no common, which is wild. Hit is going to be going in at the same time. Hunter and Smoker go for the same target. Charger is going to miss as well, and you have to wonder on SI side, just based on how that tank went, if they weren't looking for quite a bit more from it, and now they have to wait for this Horde to get back into sorts, because the survivors were all the way behind, and now it needs to respawn in the front.
Yeah, but like you said, they are slow. They're going to crawl, so they're going to at least take probably 2 or 3 more hits, maybe more, depending on how well the SI is able to land. They have a 2-2 fall in the recent hit. They're going to get Jockey Hunter, and we should see them want to go relatively quick here. The Jockey gets a nice separation forward, and they do not get it clear. This might be a lot of damage going out. They get the in cap. A pole goes out. in the rear, and the spit onto Zoe. Does not get the ink cap, but that is a massive amount of damage, and now officially, Rails, the DB is officially broken into.
Oh, and in addition to that, right, they're going to get a charger for this next hit. They're keeping the spitter alive. I think they might even throw another delay spit here just because they can. And indeed, that's exactly what we're going to see. And that spitter is going to get picked for it, though. That's a little wild as these survivors keep bleeding out. But once again, I think Team Impact have a little bit of the momentum in this spot. Charger's going to go in with a double charge landing. Zoe's going to get incapped in the back, so absolutely no distance gained there. And another incap going out on to the survivors. It's such a brutal horde in this area for any team, but like I said, on this ping, Coreagaming are trying their absolute best, but they still have a deceptively rough amount of this event to get through with these other SI hits coming up. Hunter, Jockey, Spitter, and one more spawn will be up in just a second. If they manage to get a reset, that would be huge. Hunter, though, is going to get blown out of the sky by Kane. There is an incap going out onto Francis, so it's an absolute bloodbath on both sides here. As we see another incap going to Lewis, but he's not going to get reset. Jockey is scrambling for a spawn, and basically at this point, this is going to be chaos for the rest of the map until the survivors either die or they limp their way into the safe room with almost no bonus. The Jockey's going to land onto Zoe once again, continuing the chaos, and the Boomer and Spitter are both recharged. At this point, Quad Boom does go out from underneath, Spit going out as well. Kane is completely hopeless in that area just because all those common plus the boom going out, there's not a whole lot he can do. Charger gets an incap in the back, and the Jockey is going to get killed before managing to scratch Kane, but it is Kane versus the world right now when it comes to the common and the SI. And despite all that, MK, they only get, from the point where that tank spawned, like another 150 points for all of that.
Yeah, I think they took it back too far, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree, Rails, but I think I would almost want to stay to the front of that bus, and if the tank comes in, maybe you go back into that room and just take it there, because if you look how much damage and how slow they were through the whole map, I think they could have been at the same point there, but still have a set of pills, and maybe make it to at least a safe room door, in my opinion. That's what I would have tried.
There are issues with each spot there, and they were real close to getting like double or triple hittable too with that dumpster when they went back. But if you stay forward on the bus, there's still hittables, and it's real easy for the tank to get a corner. Anyway, we have the fast ready ups going out. We have a triple boom on Team Impact, and Healy is getting absolutely abused by that boom spit combo. That is a huge amount of damage onto the health, and that's actually going to drop him all the way down to 47 MK off a 2-2. We've seen a surprising amount of damage. We see pain coming out from Zushi in the spec chat that way too, just because it's painful when you see a 2-2 do that much damage, especially on a hit like that.
Yeah, right now they're holding the go-go key. There's a lot of commons chasing them, and let's see if they slow down here a bit to clear it. I think they're going to. They have 100 pre-spawned up ahead. There's a charge spit for the room, so I do believe taking it slow might be a little smart here. There's a few more still trickling in from behind. Zoe is going to take point, so it's going to be Healy with front shotgun. Hunter's now making noise. They now are aware that the Hunter is there. Charger is right next to him, but not spawned in. And right here, Rails, I don't know if this is going to turn out so much since they've given up the Hunter's location.
And they're really trying to pick that Hunter as much as they can. They've knocked it down to 118 HP already, with this Charger still waiting to go from the left, but the baiting timer is down to about 17 seconds. Here comes the charge, going to land onto Press W with a Jockey landing in the back. That's a huge amount of damage, and Lewis is still not out of this until now. Oh. That is very, very comparable to what we saw. Yeah, good half on that. And I mean, you gotta ask at this point, right? In a game that has been a slugfest so far on SI, it really has been. I think it's been what we've hoped for in that regard. You know, to keep your composure on Survivor side after the absolute just the distance between that hittable landing and Coreagaming making up a couple more points. Like, it might not seem like a massive amount on the scoreboard, but for the mental game, it's like Impact have to still stay focused on Survivor side. That Charger is going to miss. Boomer gets a single boom. Smoker does get cleared. That's the cleanest hit that we've seen navigated so far for Impact, and if they can keep that together for just a bit, maybe we can see a turnaround on a map that doesn't usually offer it. If they manage to get to the safe room with any kind of bonus on this, it would be completely amazing, but we are going to be seeing map 5 as well. There are a couple chances still for Team Impact to bring it back, and they have one more hit to navigate here. Spitter, Smoker, Jockey, and a Hunter for this next hit. Let's see exactly what they can do. They're going to start the forklift, and they are going to back up maybe for one, but once again, MK, because it's not ace mod, the SI have the ability to hit on their terms, and that's actually going to be now, as that pounce spit is going to go down. Smoker does get a quick pull, but that's not a massive amount of damage, and the survivors are going to be looking to spawn this tank. Let's see if they stay forward or not, because there are issues with both these spots.
Yeah, I think they're going to stay forward, but if they do go back into the cubicle rooms, they will find an extra set of pills, so note that. If they do decide to go back and stay there, they will find that, and they're actually going to run back here, Rails.
They need to not get double capped.
And if they survive this tank, they're going to have to run through the map just like Coreagaming did.
The tank is right there. That's the cutoff I think that Chad was maybe trying to go for, but this tank is right on the survivors' tails, climbing up to the top of that feeder, and if they decide to go all the way back here, they're going to get boomed for it. Boomer's going to go in, the M2 goes out, and the Boomer is going to die as the survivors have made their way, and even with that cutoff, it wasn't quite enough for Razor, who has this tank for Coreagaming, to get that all-important wipe just by means of intercept, and instead, the survivors are going to copy that exact same strat, and they're going to work their way all the way back. They only have 2 sets of pills and 2 people bleeding pre-tank, though, MK. That's why I am skeptical just a tad bit about this, but the tank is trying to rotate on them, and he hasn't quite gotten in yet. Now he's going to, but this is going to be so close. The Charger is going to land in. The tank is right there. The tank is right there, and the survivors close the door on him, and they're going to run outside. The tank is going to be looking for a hittable, but he's not going to land it. Razor completely alone with this hatchback, and the survivors might even fight him forward here because they can't quite get back. He's rotating around to the side. This is insanity that we're watching right now, and that car is not going to land either. It's going to clip the tree. He's on 45%. If they go back and AI him, he's bot. He is completely bot right now, and there's not anything he can do about it unless he manages to peek sight. Boomer gets M2'd again, and the tank is AI. MK, this is ridiculous by Team Impact. This is absolutely ridiculous, and it's amazing to see because they just use the anti-hib strat for this AI tank, is what I'm gonna say, by going all the way back. But Bill is getting himself out of harm's way by juking that AI tank punch, and that is going to be the entire map with Horde needing to be retaken. But what survivor positioning by Team Impact there, MK. This is going to be the longest event we have ever seen.
Yeah, unfortunately, Rails ran all the way back. I don't see them making the safe room like this, just my opinion, but I wish the best for them, as we have the Hunter pre-spawn taking this event with Horde of the charge in the spit, the 2 charge in the spit. Oh my gosh.
Good
Rails.
Good thing.
That's what I was talking about, Rails. That's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, taking it all the way back to the safe room is great on the tank positioning, and honestly, I feel like it would have been amazing had there not been an event. Like, if that happens on Ace Mod, I think they're fine, but they're completely dead at this point, because the Horde, it doesn't restart based on survivor progress forward when the tank is dead. This is something really important to understand about this version of Zone Mod, because in a normal circumstance, they would be able to run all the way back through the map with no common to that point at the event, but instead now they have to deal with the event the entire time, and they're not making this. That's a double cap going out. Jockey gets the in cap on Zoe, Smoker pull on Slay got cleared, but, I mean, they would be absolutely praying for a miracle at this point, and the Charger's not going to let that happen, because he's going to get a charge with a spit going out on top of that, so you live by the AI, you die by the AI, is basically how Comp Left 4 Dead 2 goes in some of these regards. I feel like the better option would have been to maybe try to take it forward, but I don't know. Like I said, another version of the config, I think that works real well, but even if they didn't have the event Horde, they would have had to take that hit in the room plus a couple other hits anyway, so it might have been a wash either way, but there's just obviously no way they're making it with this ping, and I think Bill's also out of ammo.
Yeah, they are just getting beat to heck by comments. Hunter's going to go and get Bill from behind. The spit's going to land on it. That's going to in-cap Bill. That's going to be the rest of their bonus gone. The DB is gone. 2 survivors are down. Charger lands, leaving only Zoe up. The Boomer's going in for slaps. And right now, this is going to be it. And Zoe has given up. And there it is. That's going to be the wipe. They bring their chapter score to 497. They lost more on this chapter. Going into the finale here, Rails. And they're down 620 points.
Indeed they are, and we have the nice tank coming out in Infected Chat, because I think Team Coreagaming know exactly how that went. Yeah, I mean, taking it on the ambulance would have been an idea. Maybe the room is just absolute death on this ping, but what this forces now for map 5 is an early tank wipe. If we're being realistic, if Team Impact wants to win this game, they have to get a wipe. pretty much on the first tank near safe room and then make that distance, because if Team Coreagaming manages to make it to that tank, which I think is at like what 500 some points, then they're going to be at 2800 versus 1700, and they'll force Team Impact to make the entire map with bonus. So
yeah.
it really comes down to where this tank is, and actually the tank's going to be at 82%, so it's going to be late and force a transition backward once again. And honestly, on Death Toll, moving from one area to the other on any map is challenging, but on Death Toll it can be make or break, as we've seen a couple of times. It really will come down to where the survivors choose to take it, and press W for Team Impact / Simpact is going to have a lot of work to do. Charger's going to go in, not going to land. We are going to see the Smoker go down in front with the Jockey landing too, and the Charger did land as well. That's a rolling triple cap to start that chapter off, so anybody wondering if Team Impact were done with this game yet, the answer is absolutely not.
No, that's great damage. It's one survivor below 4 punches. 2 of them are going to be 4. One still remaining 5 at 100 health, being 4Z. But right now, this map is 800 distance rail, so depending on when this first tank spawns and what Impact can do with it, they get a wipe. They won't need any bonus depending on when it spawns. You know, the distance is a little weird because it doesn't start going up till the event is actually triggered and the finale begins. As right now, they spawns up a tri-cap with Hunter, Smoker, Boomer, and a Charger. As the Smoker misses a pull from behind, and one boom does lance, a Pounce does lance as well. Charger misses, and the Smoker gets cleared. Boomer gets bullied around, gets killed third last, and looks like the Smoker's going off to die, and that's going to be another tacked out with Rails.
It is, but look at the amount of rolling damage that went on that just from commons and scratches. They went in because the tank's going to spawn here, and this will give them some kind of hit for the house as they go back, but like we said, press W is going to have to do a decent amount of work on this, to say the least. He needs the wipe. He's got potentially 3 cards to play with, depending on how he decides to commit this. But the survivor is going to be real careful about it. Staying in the open field, actually, looking to get some chip here, and this is extremely dangerous now for both teams, because this hatchback is everything. Car goes chopping in, and this is going to be the commit then. Lewis is in the back still on the hill. Tank is going to actually car him, and that's going to be the down onto Razor. This is going to be a free car landing for what is looking like a death at this point, and that's going to be exactly what they're going to do. Grinding him up that hill, still 3k left, and that's a death with the hatchback spinning back towards Zoe, with the Charger, the Hunter, and the Jockey still in play. It was exactly on the transition like we talked about. Tank is going back in. There's the separation pin going out onto Bill, and we're going to see the car go in, and it's going to land onto him as well with that hatchback, but the tank is down to 200 HP. They need the wipe in this scenario. Rock is going to go in. The tank is going to die. That's 1 survivor dead, so it's still makeable with 800 distance, but MK, I said it just before it happened, it's that moving from one place to the other, and we have a death. This is still super possible for Impact now.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. Coreagaming played that tank extremely aggressive and up close, even though it was a wide open with nothing to really hide behind with a hittable in play. And unfortunately for them, it didn't pay off. They lost 1 survivor. They did survive, though, and now they have a Smoker trailing them. A Jockey pre-spawn to the left. And I'm not sure what the other 2 spawns are going to do, as this is the worst attack you can get. The pull actually lands. Jockey gets pretty much melted. Boomer gets killed, which will cause the Spitter to die last. And they're going to hunt down the Smoker to make sure they don't get a quad rail.
Well, they're already not going to get a quad, I think, because they killed the Boomer out of order. But the fact that this amount of pushing is going on by Kane is hilarious, actually, because I think this is going to give Team Impact another hit before the event started. They are trying so hard to kill the Smoker, and it's actually to their detriment. You know, Coreagaming are being as aggressive as possible because they're trying to bring this home, right? But at the same point in time, you know, now they actually have a quad to deal with before the button gets pressed, and they didn't want to deal with that hit because they thought Impact had a Boomer, I'm pretty sure. I think that's why they stayed forward and tried to get that aggressive chip on the tank, but it actually just... Razor tried to juke the car in an area where you really can't rely on that in a match like this, unfortunately, because one thing going wrong like that means... You know, against a tank that knows how to hit cars, that's exactly what you expect. Look at the strat that we're seeing now, though, because I swear to you, they are going to stay in that room for this entire event, if they can. But the Charger's going to go for a stumble behind, managing to get it, but that's not going to be the quad whatsoever. I like the idea for the stumble play, but look at the positioning by the survivors. They know every single point that they get here is better for them, and now there's a 2-2 that they have to navigate as the Charger is going to decommit, but they need to die fast, MK.
Yeah, right now they're getting close to that 200 point mark where actually I think they only need, what, 22 more before if Impact wants to make a comeback that will need bonus. I don't know if my math is correct, but it's somewhere close to that. As right now, like you said, it's 2-2 with a smoker and a charger. Not a bad 2-2 actually. Looks like one of the survivors dodging the smoke between the trees. It does not land. The charger's getting chased from behind, but doesn't notice it. He gets a punch, but misses his charge, and the spit's gonna free spit to make Francis slow. But that's gonna be it. Now they're gonna have tri-cap with a boom for the next hit coming up, Rails.
Yeah, I mean, this is a map that Impact can absolutely make, don't get me wrong, but they need to shut down that first tank as much as humanly possible, because what they can't afford, if they take more at this point than 2 incaps on that first tank, then you'd have 2 bleeders for the entirety of the event, and that alone is going to go through all the pills that Team Impact hypothetically will have available to them. The Boomer's going to get a triple boom, the rest of this hit's going to go in, Jockey's bouncing in, Hunter's bouncing in as well, because there's no spitter though, that makes this just an absolute scratch fest in that corner. But the thing is, you know, on Survivor side, Coreagaming know that they just have to keep staying alive. The booms landing prolong the horde, I think, just a bit, but so far they haven't taken a massive amount of damage since the death. They've shut down mostly everything. They're still committing pills, but they're transitioning between the absolute wide open and the closet so they can kill literally everything that comes at them without a spitter in that room. And now, because they know there is a spitter, they're just going to be outside for as long as they have to be until the rest of this hit shut down. But that charger manages to land in the open field, and the jockey lands as well. They're getting double capped in the absolute wide open, which is not what you want to see if you're Coreagaming or a fan of theirs. And another boom has managed to land. They have forced it to be 800 distance by this point, so they're in a very tough spot at this point on Special Infected side, because they're going to have to make this map. Coreagaming's still alive, taking damage. So many things have happened in this match, MK, where it could have gone one direction or the other, but I think in situations on map 3 and also here on map 5, after getting the kill on Special Infected side for Team Impact, you know, you'd like to see the Special Infected manage to kill the other team after that happens entirely, but so far that has not been the case. That is going to be the double cap landing with the charger going in, not going to land it either. That's going to be a huge amount of damage though onto what remains of Coreagaming, and Kane, for the life of him, cannot get that clear before that kill goes out, just because of the amount of common and the fact that his teammates were absolutely boomed in that regard. So they are going to wipe, obviously, but at the same point in time, it's going to be a game of distance points on this, and then for Coreagaming, they're going to hope their SI can bring this home. Let's see if they will be able to manage to clear the charger real quick. It's tough to bring down Kane on any ping, as I think everyone is aware, but that shovel is going to M2 that jockey in the face, like we just mentioned. And that's a GJ coming out in the all chat, deservedly so, I think, because Kane is absolutely not going down to anything except spit.
They do get a chapter score of 379 though, Rail, so they are gonna have to make it with bonus.
Right.
Let's see what it, so if they get just distance, it'll be 25, 25, 28. So they need 160 bonus.
Yeah, and the story of this game has been the hittables, right? And the thing you have to do on Survivor side is, okay, is there an element of skill to Left 4 Dead 2 hittables? Yes. Is there an element of randomness to Left 4 Dead 2 hittables? Yes. But in a match like this, you need to, on Survivor side, you need to calculate, okay, if I'm going to deal with a car in this area, where is the one area that gives me the closest to 100% chance of dodging this? Like the free car we saw land on map 3 on the train shouldn't have happened. The free car in that field on Razor shouldn't have happened. And Impact really need to play positionally well on Survivor side when it comes to this. That's the one way they have a chance of winning this game, because if they take more than 2 incaps at this first tank, I think Team Coreagaming wins just based on their SI, plus the fact they can basically use attrition the entire map to have the survivors bleed. But if they manage to navigate it as well as they potentially can, then they could easily make this comeback as well. It's still anyone's game at this point, and it's a spitter, jockey, charger, smoker for Team Coreagaming's first hit.
Yeah, and Coreagaming elected not to hit on the inside right away. It looks like they're debating with where the charger is relocating his spawn. Looks like the jockey is set above. Okay, charger is positioned above. Looks like all the spawns are going to come from that area at the moment. I don't see... Okay, except for the smoker across. As they move outside, the rocket spawns go in. Charger misses, but a 2-cap go in for the jockey and smoker, but gets cleared right away. And actually, Rails, that's... Even though the charger missed, look at what it did to the survivors. Got 92, 94, and 95. I don't think it's that bad.
That hit, I like the way Team Impact dealt with that. Chad did a good job of dodging the charger, and then he kited the charger punch too, I'm fairly sure, as he was working his way to the side. He might have gotten hit once, but that's about it, and that should be the tank spawn. This is a pretty survivor-sided map. I would say of all the maps that Team Impact could ask to make a comeback on this ping, this is probably one of the more favorable ones for them, and this tank is going to have to do a decent amount of work. As we mentioned, one of the boulders forward is hittable, but at the same point, that boomer is going to get shut down, and that's what they really wanted to worry about. The survivors are deciding whether they want to stay here or not. I don't know. The boomer's dead, so I think they should go back. Exactly, yeah. Now, the thing they have to worry about is just don't get double or triple charged here and have a car just slam into their faces. But if this tank just whales this hatchback, they could counter push him. And the car's in a pretty bad spot, actually, for the SI right now, just because it's not doing a whole lot. Now it's going to block the survivors from going forward, so this is better, but I think this is still a pretty favorable area for the survivors if this tank doesn't get this other hatchback, and he's on 45% first pass, still playing around with it, not taking any chip, and now the car's going to actually go wailing out of play. That is for the SI.
That is really unfortunate, Rails.
That is not what you want to see, and he's going to be forced to commit in with just one car, and this is how it's going to go. Tank is actually going to be turning back around because the survivors are kiting him forward, and the SI were not there for it. There is no car. They're going to clear the tongue. That is going to be a pounce onto Lewis, but the SI have already been sent in. They need to kill this tank as fast as humanly possible right now. There's a one common coming in from the back. Lewis is going to go down, and the smoker pull has gone out. The tank is right there, but he's going to need to decommit. He's going to be going back for the hittable. They need to force this pickup and force him back in. Rock is going to get skied. Somebody pick him up! Somebody pick him up! This is so intense right now because if they manage to get this pickup and then go forward again, there's nothing the tank can do, and that would be a one in cap. This is absolutely possible. For Impact, that boomer is way too far away. MK, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that boomer is a little ambitious there at the end, trying to get a boom from there, but right now this tank is 60% frustration, second pass, 2.3k health.
The boomer's dead. Just go
going all the way forward,
just
right?
Go forward. That's what I want them to do because they're sitting here, right? Tank's on, and the only thing that they're gaining right now is they're giving the tank sight and Healy's bleeding out. If they kill another hit and they go all the way forward, he has no cars. He's going to be recommitting right now with early support, but he should die before the SI support is really even in. They just need to not eat things in the open field, and Zoe's gonna eat that Charger slay, not like this. Tank is going for a punch, not gonna land, and they cleared the Charger as well. That is the shutdown that they needed, MK. It's one in cap, and it was that survivor positioning once again on either side that made it possible. If they can take these hits well, they just need distance with a bit of bonus. We have a nail biter on our hands, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely, we do here, Rails. This next hit's going to be crucial to getting inside with the spit damage. Like, are going to have to go in.
Death Toll isn't the best Left 4 Dead 1 map from now on is wrong. This is proving, okay. I had to get that in there, because the thing about Death Toll in matches like this, where you have two teams that know the map as well as they do, like, this has been a decision by both Survivor and Infected teams that's come down to Survivor positioning most of all, and this has been one of the better matches, I think, that I remember on a campaign like this, because now it comes down to, okay, they're going to hit the button once, the Hunter's going for a wall kick inside, but look at how patiently Team Impact are playing this.
He can't break that door. I don't think they start the event. I think once you start the event, he can break it, right?
He actually specs the Hunter because he was trapped inside the room. I mean, that's him losing an opportunity at a wall kick, in my opinion, because I think they just started the event, right? And so now they're going to circle their way. No, maybe they didn't. Yeah, they did. And now they're circling around because they want to get ammo and things. The Boomer's going to get a double boom and then die. And, I mean, I think that is something where when you start the event, that's where something like that is possible, but I guess that comes down to a combination of Left 4 Dead 2 being Left 4 Dead 2 and map knowledge, question mark?
I'm not sure what they're exactly doing here.
They wanted pills, so they stopped for a second, and I think they also wanted the SI spawns to not be set up for where they were going, so now I think if they don't know what they're doing, the SI can't know what they're doing too.
Yeah, what it is, it definitely worked, but unfortunately they're not going to have the best. Well, actually, no, they did. This is a pretty decent attack. Hunter, Charger, Jockey, Spitter. They're going to send the spawns in now. Hunter comes from above. The other two walk it in. The Charger unfortunately misses. Jockey gets bullied. Hunter gets skeeted. Free spit onto nothing, and that's another attack shut down here, Rails. That's big for Team Impact.
This is huge. Every single hit counts, and the thing is, they need to stay away from the hittable on Survivor side, and they also need to choose where they want to kill the tank, because the tank is going to need to rely on some kind of open field SI. If a boom lands here, it's not insta-death, actually, because there's enough room to run around, but the survivors just need to be where they feel the most comfortable. With no water slowdown, too, this is really advantageous for them. They have about 3 more hits, I'm pretty sure, to take before that tank is up, but then it's quick order between that tank and the ending boat. Boomer is going to die first, so that's not going to be a quad attempt either. Smoker is going for something. Hunter and Jockey from the left-hand side. Skeet goes out onto the Hunter by Healy. Nice job by him, and you've seen the momentum shift now, MK. I think both teams know, because this is a single elimination game in round 5 of the losers bracket, this loser of this game will go out in 5th place in the tourney, but it's going to be such a hard-fought outcome either way, because you see how well the survivors are positioning now. Everything that's happened in this game has happened, but Impact don't care. This is where they need to basically just reset themselves as much as possible and keep moving in the direction that they are, because they have 4 sets of pills, 3 survivors with high green HP, and we have a pause going out here potentially to check. You know,
Tactical.
who knows?
Tactical pause.
Do you think it's tactical?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're going to debate on what they want to do here. Because I don't think they planned on playing this finale, so they didn't have any plan for this at this moment, I would guess. Because, be for real, any pug that you played in or any CETA, when is the finale played? Never. So, who practices
I think
it?
it's a detriment, honestly. I think it's important to know finales, at least for situations like this, because the thing is, in the rules, it says if there's no preset agreement between the teams, which there wasn't, on a 1 to 5 neutral, it defaults to neutral 1 through 5 that way. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the default setting for it, because I think a finale like this, as we've seen, can still go either way, and you have to remember that in tournaments, it's teams that have played together / the game in a team format for years upon years in a lot of cases, or just thousands of hours either way. And if there's any teams that can show us how it's supposed to be played, it's these two right here. There's a nice pounce landing. Charge is going to land as well, but the spit is not on target. The death spit is going to do a bit more damage, but Impact are standing between 2 spit puddles and not taking a whole lot. That might have been a common hop to death for Bill for a hot second, but it's not actually going to be, and the survivors have managed to transition their way back out. And MK, they still have 2 sets of pills left on the dock too. This tank is going to be absolutely everything for Team Coreagaming, and if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be up maybe after just 1 more hit, but there is no spitter in the spawn queue for this, and we see strats being used now by both teams. Jockey is going to get cleared. Charger's going to go in for a triple charge, but that's going to be the survivors clearing that, taking a decent damage across the board, though. That was ridiculous. They got triple charged in the closet for a second, and now they're going to have still 4 sets of pills, but 1 survivor bleeding. That looked a lot worse than it was, right?
That reminds me of that rehab strat from Grand Final versus Envy in the toilet.
The
RBT6
toilet, Charger got massive amount of punches.
Exactly. But now both sides are waiting for this tank to spawn. Survivors holding onto their pills as much as possible. It's going to be so close here. Charger's going to go in for an open field charge. Is going to get leveled by Slice. Does a bit of damage.
The tank?
They force spawn the tank. The Boomer's going to go in, though, and gets a single boom. You can force spawn the tank in that left-hand corner, as we saw the survivors just do, but Escal is going to have to be looking for the wipe here, and he's actually in a position where he can get pushed. If Slay figures this out, which I think he just did, then you might see the survivors push him to the point where he has to commit. But that's also hittable, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's the one saving grace for the SI, but now he's knocked the hittable into play. If he's not careful, the survivors will counter push him, and he's going to manage to climb out at this point. And the survivors know, because they're bleeding, they cannot afford to have a rock tank played against them right here. That's going to be a Hunter on top of the roof in front of them. Smoker and Charger also still bouncing around. The hittable is coming in over the top. Hunter is going to die, and this is what I was talking about. With that hittable over there, now they're going to push him. Exactly as I thought they were going to before, because there's absolutely nothing he can do in that spot. Charger is going to whiff, and the tank is going to try to climb out. He's going to get punished for it, though. Under 5k HP left. And this is for everything. The survivors can't push him up there, though, so they need to LOS, and this is the exact way the SI have to play this tank. If I'm Team Coreagaming, we are playing a rock tank. We are not committing this thing until we absolutely need to, and just bleed them out the entire way. And maybe force a commit, like, very near the end, but you want to see Bill, Zoe, and Francis bleed more first. If they can get somebody into slow by the hits in that range, that would be absolutely incredible.
Yes, indeed. Look at the survivors. They pop their pills, and they're dangerously being close to being slow right now. He's still first pass. Like you said, 4.9k HP. Boomer, Hunter, Jockey are the spawns in rotation. And I don't even know if they're going to attack. I think they're just going to stand here and keep view
Exactly,
all
just bleed
day.
them. Just bleed them, exactly. Don't even commit the tank unless you absolutely have to, because he's on first pass, and the Survivor's getting any kind of chip at this range, it's not worth. It's just not, in my opinion.
No, right now they need to LOS, but it's very dangerous to LOS a tank with a boomer up. The boomer looks like he's trying to get a spawn right now. For some reason, the frustration is glitched for me. I cannot see what he's at first pass. It says that for me.
I mean, he's at the point where he can rotate all around this wall, right? So now he's on second because he's actually been forced there, right? So he's on high second. He actually might have to commit, and this is not an ideal commit hit for me because this boomer needs to land in an open area. And I think he wants to rotate towards his hittable, but I don't know if he even has the frustration. This has gone from being really positive for Team Coreagaming to being what might be a shutdown. That boomer is dead. Slay, kill. If they LOS him hard, they will force him completely in unless he rotates his way all the way around on this right-hand side. But if you notice, Slay is going to be slow. The tank is in the front. That is not hittable, and I think the Survivors know that. So, I mean, if they can keep everybody fast here, that's going to be what matters. And now they are going to be pushing in with the tank counter pushing them too, with one Survivor, that being Bill, getting split, but he's managed to work his way out of it. It's a Hunter on him, and he manages to get the ski, but the jockey has landed on the other side onto Healy with a charger as well. The tank is going to miss a punch onto Lewis, though. He is going to be down. He has 1500 HP. This tank needs to die right now if you're Team Impact, but the tank is getting out. This is insane. Jockey's going to get M2'd and shut down the same way that Skeet was dealt with. The tank has 1k HP, and this is for everything right here. The tank is on top of the house. If they LOS him in, it's going to be the AI tank needing to do that amount of work. They need to hard LOS and then make their way to the boat, and they might actually have this game. Smoker spawns up and gets self-cleared again. It's been those solo shutdowns. It was the Skeet going out by Bill. That charger is going to land for a hot second, but it's not what Team Coreagaming are looking for, and the tank is going to rotate now very close to the Survivors. The boomer is going to land a double boom as well, and the tank is still alive. This is ridiculous, MK. This is absolutely ridiculous because the Survivors cannot push him back because they are so slow when it comes to their HP. Like, this is as close as you could possibly get in a situation like this, with one team holding on to their last tank, trying to get the rest of this bleed, and now he's going to be forced in with the rest of his hit. Hunter and Jockey are both going to land, and the tank is right there with the rocket. He's going for it, but he's not going to land. The tank needs to die right now. That's going to be an in-cap going out. Tank is at 200 HP. He's at 5 health. He gets a 5 health punch onto Bill, and that's the in-cap, but he's going to die with one Survivor dead as well. This is going to be one of the closest matches we've seen. It depends on if they can keep Slay's permanent HP 4 minutes 20 seconds with that tank. I think that actually is going to be the GG, as you mentioned, because that charger is going to die. The Survivors are out of ammo, and it was a case where the tank played it just long enough to where I think he's going to preserve the victory, but it's going to be so nail-bitingly close as the Survivors make their way towards the boat. What?
What is that roof? What the fuck?
Oh, the roof here? That's for spawns. Yeah. It's supposed to help that way. Yeah.
First time I see that.
Yeah. It's something where it makes the dock a bit less good for the Survivors, but this is going to go down as one of the closest matches we have seen, especially in an elimination style tourney like this late in the game, and it's going to be Team Coreagaming, it would seem, barely holding on, 2,687 to 2,488, but it came down to that last tank, MK, and that's exactly what they needed to do. They will advance and play Team Aquilix next week. What an incredible game.
Yes, it was, Rails. I was happy to be able to cast it. It was one of the nail biters came down to the last map. Literally, the finale. Can't ask for anything being possibly closer. I mean, if they would have LOS the tank a little bit better at the end, I think there might have been a possibility, but nonetheless, it's less than 150 point game on the finale.
Yeah,
it came out to be.
That one Survivor lives, right? When it came down to, because they still had 3 Survivors with bonus, but everybody's slow, the tank was able to decommit there, which was the exact right play with 1k HP left, and then just force the Survivors to take another hit and do everything you possibly can on the tank to try to make it work. That's essentially what you want to see from what is now a semi-finalist team that way, with Coreagaming advancing to play against Team Aquilix, right? And it's like, that's why I absolutely love the map Veto category as well, because you can get so many different like potential matchups that way that help either side, and it was Coreagaming, I think, that actually made the veto to make that death toll, and they ended up getting the win on it. But it's after just like a huge example of how any map, honestly, with teams of that caliber, plus like an even server game, like that's what you want to see from an environment like that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't ask for anything more than that, but nonetheless, they get to advance in the loser bracket. Like you said, they're going to play Aqualix next week, and also in the winner bracket, we're going to have where the F is Spongy playing Cat Jam.
Exactly, and that's going to be a hell of a match as well, which will also feature a veto. But thank you, everybody, for tuning into this game. I know it was early, especially on the European side of things. It's now getting late, NA side as well. But MK, do you have any other shout-outs / recommendations / analyses you want to give prior to us signing this off?
No, just hope the rest of the matches will be exciting like that, and stay tuned to Cryjo's stream. Cryjo will do the rest of the matches for the tournament. And look forward to playing, or I mean not playing, look forward to watching them.
Absolutely, and I will quickly just give a shout out to the, obviously Cryjo and MK for streaming and co-casting this with me, and the teams as well. Congratulations to Team Coreagaming, and commiserations to Team Impact for what has been a hell of a run in RBT6. It's been awesome to see these teams make it this far, and now it's down to the Final Four, which should be the most exciting matches. If this was any indication as to how the rest of the tournament's going to be, I think we're in for quite a treat. So thank you everyone for watching, as always, teams for playing, and to both Sir and Lucky for all they do for the community as well, giving them that shout out, and also the IO hosts for the server that way, plus the co-admins and the entire staff that makes RBT6 run the way that it does. So thank you everybody for watching. Please continue to stay safe, and we're looking forward to seeing you for the rest of this tourney as early as next week. So have a wonderful rest of your day and or evening where you are, and we hope to see you soon.
Good use, everyone. See ya.